Test, 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 test. So many memories. Today I'm taking you with me on one of the routes that has stayed with me the most. About 90 miles between Corfu, Paxos, and the Greek mainland coast, with easy anchorages, affordable ports, and all those places we discovered while living it for 4 years. But first, the intro. Our history with Greece. It was supposed to be very short, just a stopover before reaching Egypt. Then something happened that we hadn't foreseen. We fell in love with these islands of the sea, but above all, with their people. So we stayed, not for a little while, but for 4 years. And so if it's your first time going to Greece and you're not sure where to go, don't worry, because in this video, I'll tell you about the most beautiful stops, starting with our beloved Kerkyra, or to use the Italian name, Corfu. If you're on your own boat, the first piece of advice I can give you is not to rush, to enjoy the journey, and to relax. If, on the other hand, you're chartering a boat, then try to stop it for at least 2 weeks, because 1 week, in my opinion, is too short. The second piece of advice concerns sailing in the morning. Enjoy the tranquility because you'll mainly find the wind in the early afternoon, unless you want to take advantage of the thermals. In that case, wake up early, raise the sails, and off you go for an hour or so. And the same goes for sunset. The third piece of advice is simple. If you can, plan your route in Greece between April and May, or at the latest by June, because in recent years, in fact, people tell me that nautical traffic has increased quite a bit. The first time I saw Antipaxos with all the beach umbrellas, I nearly had a heart attack. Anyone who knew the island a few years ago will perfectly understand what I mean. Anchoring is very easy. The winds are usually moderate and municipal ports cost almost nothing, but don't expect the classic Mediterranean mooring with lazy lines and dock assistance. Here, it's all about anchors and lines. If you're arriving from Italy, today's route involves departing from Corfu, but if you're arriving from Puglia, you can't miss stopping at Othoni, which is the small island right in the channel. In Italian, it's called Fano. Othoni will be really happy to welcome you into its beautiful bay or sheltered harbor. A very beautiful and quiet place with a few typical little spots where you can eat your first souvlaki and a nice gyropita. From there, I would proceed to the east coast of Corfu and I would pass by Cassiope, which was our first landing in Greece. I remember that when we arrived at night, we had to pull out all the rusty nails on the pier to prevent them from puncturing the fenders. If you stop, you'll discover a very cute town with lots of cats, where you can drink an excellent ouzo, which, together with sipuro, is the official Greek drink, very similar to sambuca or pastis. Ouzo, on the other hand, is more similar to a grappa. When drinking, you'll have to say yamas loudly, which means cheers. After picturesque Cassiope, head towards the port of Mandraki. Call our friend Andreas, the harbor master, and ask for a spot for the night. For me, Mandraki is the most beautiful port in the entire Mediterranean. We stayed there for 4 winters, and it is a truly special place. Mandraki holds a special place in my heart. It is located inside a fortress, which is the one you can also see in the movie For Your Eyes Only, with Jared Leto, but also in the 007 film For Your Eyes Only. Leave the boat, rockin' peacefully, and set off on foot to explore inland. Climb the stairs of the tower, cross the bridge, and then the esplanade. You will find an incredible city with French alleys, Venetian squares, the legendary market. Stop to eat a plate of fried small fish with a glass of Retsina, the climbs, the descents, the little spots everywhere, the Byzantine Museum. In short, it's wonderful. We got to know it in the winter. We were stuck in port for 3 months when COVID hit. If, on the other hand, you're leaving from Gouvia Marina, take advantage of the large port and the evening spots, or take a taxi and rush into town. I'll leave the contact info for the best places in the description, but you definitely can't miss a French breakfast at Rendezvous, and a typical Greek dinner at the Tavern of Epirus, and Lula, who speak perfect Italian and make a grilled octopus. That's insane. Watch out for the cats at Spiral's place. They're very demanding. I could tell you about this wonderful city for a whole day, but it's time to leave. Okay, let's set off our first leg from Corfu, heading towards Syvota to the southeast, about 18 nautical miles. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. My 2 favorite spots are Zeri Beach or Bella Vraca. At Zeri Beach, you anchor on sand, while at Bella Vraka, it's on seagrass. So please make sure the anchor sets properly. Syvota is famous, mainly for its sunsets. Over Corfu, simply insane. If you want to go to the dock, call Vasilis, also known as Valentino, on the VHF. Wait for him to take the mooring lines, don't jump off the boat, risking falling into the water because of the very high dock. I'm speaking from personal experience, right Pietro? If you need a refuel on the way there, or on the way back, or if you need a gas cylinder, in the description, you'll find Christos' number, who comes with his tanker truck. One very important thing, in Greece, you should always use a diesel filter, because in some places, it's not exactly clean. And coming back, you know well that in the channel, the sludge is always lurking. The second stop is absolutely Parga, which is 12 miles from Bolchak. Syvota heading south. Even though it has become a super touristy place over time, you can't not leave the boat, anchored in the bay, take the tender, and go for a little trip to Panaja, a small church on a rock with a holy water spring. It's worth it. The town is very touristy and is always crowded. Go ashore at your own risk, and above all, watch out for people. Swimming with the tender because the water is very shallow, and you'll find a lot of people going from the beach toward the monastery. When you're done, don't stay here, because if there's even a hint of a Sirocco wind, you'll be dancing like a dervish all night longer. You'll be leaving at 5 in the morning. Instead, head over to Ammoudia, still in the bay for the third stop, which is about 5 miles further down. Nice beach, but we're not interested in that. Sleep and wait for the next day, because you can have a pretty great experience here. Follow the Acheron River. Here you'll find the tavern on the river, where you can eat, sitting in the cool water. If you're feeling brave, you can go even further up, reaching near the Necromantheon, which was the entrance to Hades, but watch out for the ghosts that still roam the valley. Let's set off from Ammoudia and set a course for Two Rocks Bay, about 3 miles of sailing south. At some point, when you see two rocks on the left, enter the bay. Here, you can anchor on sand, and almost the entire bay, but watch out for the two rocks in the middle, which is exactly where the bay gets its name, Two Rocks Bay. I promise you an incredible starry night where you'll even see the Milky Way. We discovered this bay by chance because a friend of ours got a line caught in the propeller, and after a couple of hours of work, we decided to stop and sleep. Okay, after a good night's sleep, we're moving on and heading east. We're going to Antipaxos, which is about 13 miles of sailing. I stayed anchored at the poles for an entire week completely alone with my family. It was the month of April, definitely during the summer. This is an anchorage that's quite busy with both private boats and ferries. If you see too much of a crowd, keep going further south towards the lighthouse. The west side of Antipaxos and Paxos offers some of the most stunning views, but remember to arrive in the morning and leave around 2 or 3 p.m. At the latest, the Mistral wind rules here and it always starts around that time, so only decide to sleep on the west side if it's calm. Swim, quick dip, then swim again. When you're tired of swimming, weigh anchor and head north and enter the fjord of Gaios. The entrance is always made from the north side, never from the south side, even if it looks open, because you'll run aground. It's very charming, very beautiful. The town of Gaios is lively and colorful. If the crew's all female, go visit our friend Georgia and her shop, Cuore Mare. My favorite place to enjoy a nice authentic Greek aperitif with Tagiasca olives, Teramo salata, and more is Bornhaus and Magazzini, but unfortunately you need a car or a long walk. In Gaios, however, you'll find all the places you could want. If you want to spend the night in the harbour, stop here. Otherwise, move directly to the 5th stop. From Gaios, set off and head up towards Lakka, which is the bay at the northernmost tip of the island of Paxos. But first, stop at Loggos and buy some bread. When the minibus arrives in Loggos, the locals have to move all the tables. Once you arrive in Lakka, give it a wide berth because of the rocks and keep an eye out for the hydrofoil. Even though it's a relic from the 1950s, it travels at a speed of 32 knots. I warned you, once you enter Lakka, you'll find yourself in a little Greek paradise. We spent so much time Here in Lakka, partly because of the broken boat, partly for pleasure. And we know just about everyone. I'm sure you'll fall in love with it just like we did after years of visiting Greece. If you want a moor with lines ashore, stay in the north of the bay. While if you want to anchor, go to the sandy area. The distinction is quite clear. There's also a quay with water and electricity. The last time we moored at the small quay, it was free. You only pay for the water and electricity by getting the magnetic card from the tobacconist, cost about 10 euros. If you've been there and something has changed, let us know in the comments. In Lakka, you can buy fruit and vegetables at Panagiotis. There's a supermarket 200 meters from the port. There's also a laundromat. Always keep an eye on the weather, because when the wind decides to pick up, it gets challenging in the bay. Since there are usually at least 100 boats a day in August. Dinner at the tavern of Niños in the square. Tell them you're a friend of ours and that you want to go up to the terrace. Lakka is a place where you can find hospitality all year round, and I still consider it like a home. We are at the stop, which is the return trip, so we have to head back. Whether you decide to leave the boat at the marina or return to Italy, you have two options, depending on the wind, of course. Either you stop at Garitsa, a good anchorage, to go ashore and visit the city, but watch out for the Posidonia if it's windy, or you stop at my favorite island, which is Vido Island. Vido Island is right in front of Mandraki Port. I got to know it very well while I was on the boat alone, because Marina and the kids had gone to Italy to take their school exams. At night, I would go ashore and walk around the island, looking for pheasant tail feathers after they had molted, to make dream catchers. Our last stay in Corfu was 4 years ago. Let us know if in the itinerary we proposed to you, anything has changed, such as prices or anchorage areas. Greece is one of those places that you don't just visit. They become a part of your life forever. This is just a small part of what these islands can offer you. If you would like to see more route videos based on our real experience, leave your comment below. Don't forget to share with that friend of yours who knows everything about Greece but has never been there yet. Just make sure not to call him Malaka. And if you go to Greece, you'll find out why. I'll say goodbye, and above all, fair winds. Not too little, not too much, but just right.